Welcome to another episode of this special series of Looking After Nature podcast, where we'll be talking all things rights of way. My name is Gemma Clinch and I'm here with our usual co-host, Carly Harrod. Hi Carly.
Hi Gemma. So where have you brought me today? I know we're in North again, but where exactly are we?
We are in the beautiful village of Hurstbourne Tarrant today. It's a parish in the north of Hampshire near Andover, and we're here today because the parish has been really involved in helping to maintain their rights of way.
And you've been helping them to do this, haven't you?
Yes, so today we're going to be having a chat with Mark. He's part of the parish council, and we're going to be finding out a little bit more about the projects that they've done and some of the projects that they may have in mind in the future. Hi Mark, how are you?
Hi Gemma, very nice to see you today. What a beautiful autumn day we've got.
I know, we've arranged it well because a couple of weeks ago it was absolutely peeing it down, wasn't it? So I'm glad we're here in the dry.
Your planning is perfect,
yes.
As always.
So I'm talking to Mark, who's one of the parish councillors for Hurstbourne Tarrant, and we are currently stood overlooking the village actually. This is a really nice viewpoint, and we are stood on the handrail. Now we're not on the handrail, we're on the right of way by the handrail, but we're going to talk about this task in a moment because it was a really lovely day spent in Hurstbourne Tarrant with volunteers a few months ago. But first of all, Mark, I'd like to ask you, now obviously Hurstbourne Tarrant, you have got a lot of rights of way in and amongst your village and on the outskirts as well. Do you have any local volunteers who chip in and help you maintain the rights of way around here?
We do, Gemma, yes. I mean, from here you can see quite a few of our rights of way. We've got a wonderful selection of them, but we're also blessed in the village that we've got some amazing volunteers who get stuck in when we put a call out to them for all sorts of jobs. We just had a volunteering day on Saturday, a clear up, an autumn clear up, and we had a good turnout for that. But yes, we've got a number of volunteers of all ages, and they've helped us through the course of this year with your help to get on with some of these projects.
Yes, now I worked with you guys back in April, wasn't it? And we did some veg clearance in preparation for the handrail installation, and that was just members of the community who came out on that one, wasn't it? So local people, we put a shout out on your Facebook group, didn't we? And we had about, I think it was 6 people who came along, I think. And that was really nice. And we had, again, all ages there, didn't we? The youngest was 18, I think she was. So it was really nice to see, actually, people of the community come out and actually do local work on the rights of way. So that brings us quite nicely onto one of the major projects. So we did the veg clearance, and now we're stood on a very steep hill with a lovely handrail that we are leaning on, and it hasn't collapsed yet, so you've done a good job. Talk me through why this project was so important for the parish.
Well, I think it probably goes back to a time when we had some permissive paths around the village in addition to our rights of way. And unfortunately we lost a couple of those, and one of them was a cut-off that made the ascent of this hill somewhat easier, but actually once we lost the permissive path, of course, we were then back to the right of way. And as you can see, the official right of way here is probably a 1 in 4, would you say, something like that. It's a pretty steep climb,
steep. Yeah.
And probably around 200 metres, I guess, from the bottom to the top, and it was alongside the edge of the wood, so quite scrubby, and then on the other side we had this barbed wire fence. And so obviously people were then adhering to the right of way, but pointing out to us that as it hadn't been used for many years, it had become overgrown and potentially dangerous in the wet because of the steepness.
I remember coming here for my first site visit here, and it was January, with Mitch, who's our ranger, and we climbed to the top. My goodness, was it slippery. It was slippery, it was muddy. Climbing to the top was hard enough, but coming back down felt quite scary in places. So I can see why it was important to you.
Indeed. And so within the parish council, we started to talk about what might be possible. Were steps possible? Was some kind of handrail possible? And that was when you and your team kindly offered some support and came up with a plan that we can see has actually come to fruition
materialised, and
Indeed.
It worked. I mean, talk us through that, because if there's people listening who are part of parish council now, this is quite important for them to hear, because you contacted us about your ideas, and obviously we will then work together from there, didn't we? And it took a good year, I think, for it actually from an idea to the day itself. So talk us through that kind of progress that you made and why you wanted to contact us for help in the first place.
Well, we have a very proactive parish clerk, a lady called Mims, and normally when some of us just come up with ideas, Mims is the one who actually puts them into practice. So Mims was really responsible for getting in touch with you and explaining that we had a few ideas for making our footpaths more accessible to everyone in the community. And this was one of the projects. If people were going to use this path, then we needed to make it more accessible, more user-friendly. But we didn't really know how to do it, and we didn't really have the resources. You had the knowledge of how this could actually come to fruition, and we could perhaps rustle up a few volunteers, and those two things have resulted in this.
And also it's a good time to mention you were kind enough to have the community hall opened for us for toilets and for car parking. So you helped us, because actually those two are sometimes the big things that we can't find when we're organising a volunteer task. However minor it may seem, you need somewhere safe for people to park. You need a toilet if you have got access to one. So thank you for obviously arranging that, because it just makes the whole day go much more smoother. Also, there was another project that we've worked quite closely on, Project Stride. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yes, so this again really came about through being aware that there was a potential problem, and it actually dawned on me we have an ornithologist in the village who occasionally takes guided tours out around our rights of way.
Oh, nice.
And points out all the wildlife we have. And we had about 20 people, and the route he took us on had to pass over a number of stiles, and we had all ages. We had children in this group, we had adults, we had some people whose mobility was obviously slightly impaired for whatever reason, and it became very obvious that a stile to young people, to people whose mobility is not good, is a barrier, as much as a fallen tree or anything else that's across a right of way. And so we counted them up, and I think we've got something like 15 or so stiles within the parish across our rights of way. And so we thought, wouldn't it be great if we, with the landowners' consent and support, we could try and remove those and instead put gates in that would make them more accessible, to allow everybody in the community to perhaps be able to explore our amazing rights of way. And again, that was a concept, an idea, and we came along to you, and again you came up with the goods, Gemma, and a plan, and we're now, I think we're probably almost halfway there.
I think
perhaps.
we are really thinking about the ones we've removed, and you helped me remove one, which was a volunteer task that you came along on as well. So you're not just a parish councillor, you're also a volunteer for Hampshire County Council. But that was really nice actually, because we had some people from the village who hadn't really done a lot with the village at that point, and then really got involved, and then they came back to the handrail. So it was just capturing people's imagination, I think, and inspiring people to make a difference.
Yes, I generally try and just have ideas and then disappear into the background. But yeah, you twisted my arm, and it was actually great fun, and a great sense of having done something. Because we moved what was potentially a barrier to some people in the community into an accessible right of way. And what I'd also say is, I think I mean, we're very grateful to our landowners who've been cooperative with this. You know, and to them it is a big decision, perhaps, because they have understandable worries about livestock in fields. One of the issues that we found is that with stiles, if people can't get their dog across the stile, they'll generally try and find a different way around. And so what we've tried to do with our landowners is point out, actually, if we could put a gate in that's accessible to those of us with 2 legs and also those of us with 4 legs, people are less likely to have to go off the right of way and look for another way through. So I hope that's a bit of a win-win. Definitely,
I think that's actually a really good point. When I call up landowners or email them to ask for, you know, can we come onto your land and do X, Y and Z? The main aim is so people don't go trespassing, whether it's accidental or on purpose, they stick to the right of way, because it's obvious, it's accessible and it's safe. And actually, really, that should be selling it for everybody. And as you say, the landowners around here have been brilliant with allowing us access, driving our vehicles into their fields, moving cows if needed be, because I know that did happen on one of them. So yeah, big thanks to them, because without their support, it would be a very hard task to do.
It wouldn't be possible, no.
Yes. No. So how has it made a difference to the community, having these projects, removing the stiles, replacing gates, putting a handrail up? How has it made a difference?
No, well, it's very hard to judge those things, of course. We certainly, people love using our rights of way, whether that's people within the community or people who come here and visit. And we have the test way that goes straight through the parish, so we do get a lot of visitors. So our rights of way are being extremely well used. Obviously, as a parish councillor, I think you get used to perhaps people flagging the things that are still to be done. There's always future jobs of clearing rights of way, trying to make sure that the undergrowth is under control, trying to make sure that there's no other barriers to progress. And so probably I get more people talking to me about that than saying well done. But anyway, I think the evidence is in the fact that people are out there and enjoying our rights of way. So
yes, absolutely. And as you say, you've got the Testway coming through here, so very, very popular long route that people will be doing. They do the Testway race on it every year. There's always something going on the Testway. In regards to working with us in the future, any thoughts on future projects?
Gosh, well,
That's
what are
the
you up for,
question.
Gemma?
More handrails.
As I say, we're not short on ideas
Yes.
in Hurstbourne Tarrant, so I'm sure we'll be coming up with some more. What we'd like to get done is the remainder of the project Stride, the transforming the stiles into gates, and I think that would be great once we've got that done.
Yes.
But I think there's plenty of other things that we can do. We're always looking at the signage on our rights of way, trying to make sure that's clear for people. But really what I'd say to anyone in Hurstbourne Tarrant is, firstly, let us know if you spot something. We're always keen to get out there and try and deal with it, or we're on the phone to you, of course, and your team kindly help out. But also, if you'd like to get involved, let us know, because there's always jobs to do on these rights of way.
That's it, and you know, you should take pride in where you live, and usually more hands on deck makes much more lighter work. And you know, if you have got a spare couple of hours, what would you want to do with it? Go and volunteer. It does mean it makes such a difference to your local rights of way network, to your local community. It's a community thing. Like you mentioned about what you did at the weekend, the community came together to do some volunteering. I actually saw some on social media, and there was little children out. Everyone was doing something. It was really nice.
It does, and this what we're leaning on here, this handrail, it's going to be here for a good time.
Yes.
And the people who spent a few hours that day putting this up can be really proud of what they've done, and they're going to be able to see this over time, giving a lot of pleasure to people as well.
We are actually going to be talking to a lady called Judy, one of our volunteers, who put this handrail up, and she mentions this as one of her favourite things to do, which that kind of feedback is lovely. She doesn't live in Hurstbourne Tarrant, but the fact is she came here that day to help, and we had some from Basingstoke come. Everywhere in Hampshire came to help. 7 brilliant people came to help with this and made such a difference, and are so proud of it. That is literally what volunteering is all about, isn't it? And helping your community out. One last question. How would you like to see our relationship in the future? Obviously, HEC, Parish Council working really closely together. How would you like to see that develop in the future?
Gosh, well, as I say, I think as time goes by, we're going to have more ideas and thoughts, and we don't really have the knowledge necessarily of how to do that. I think that's what you guys have and what you can bring. So I'm sure you're going to be getting more phone calls from our parish clerk with wacky ideas of what we could perhaps do. So yeah, sit by the phone.
I will. I'll be awaiting that call. Make sure they're not too wacky. I need an answer for them. But look, thank you for taking the time to join us today. It's a shame you guys can't see where we are, because we are in a stunning spot. But we've made the spot so much more accessible for people to enjoy, so I'm really proud about that. We have, and thank you, Gemma, to you and your team, and to all the other volunteers who came from outside the area. We really appreciate it. Excellent. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much.
Wow, this is a brilliant handrail. I've just walked up to the top while you've been talking to Mark, and it's definitely needed on this slopey terrain. Absolutely. So we came here at 10 in the morning. There were 7 volunteers, there was 3 members of staff, and we left at 3. And by the time we left at 3, it was up. That is fantastic. That's a lot of hours of work though. Yes, it was. Yeah, hard work. Definitely hard work, lifting all that timber right up to the top. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't join you on that day. But I mean, the views here are fantastic, so it is well worth it, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it is a nice little rest point. If you want to catch your breath halfway up, you've got a lovely view to do so.
Yeah.
But Carly, it's my turn to ask you a fun fact.
Oh.
I'm going to take it on. How long do you think this handrail is in metres?
So I reckon, right from the bottom?
Yep.
I reckon about 60 metres.
103 metres.
103 metres?
7 volunteers put a 103 metre of handrail up in one day.
And that's over like 30 rails were carried up this slope, as well as all the...
You should have seen the trailer. The trailer was absolutely packed. Yeah.
I bet it was.
So yeah, fun fact for Hurstbourne Tarrant.
Well, thank you for that, Gemma. Well, I hope you have all enjoyed this episode of Looking After Nature podcast. We'd love to hear from you with any comments or thoughts, or if there's anything else you'd like us to discuss in a future episode, please let us know on our social media pages.
And we'd really appreciate it if you'd rate and review our podcast on iTunes, as this helps other people find us. For now, thanks for listening. I'm Gemma Clinch.
And I'm Carly Howard. See you next time.